This is Rich Lieberman, and among all the crappy things that the Chronicle is involved with these days, its main producer, one of its core, I don't know, critics, I guess would be too strong of a word because to me she's not really a critic. She's kind of a cheerleader. And now she's embroiled in some kind of a mini controversy. I'm talking about the food reviewer, restaurant critic, MacKenzie Chung Fegan, who is the, I guess, center of as I said, a little mini controversy. She recently, I'm not going to mention the name of the restaurant. That's not the point of the story here, because I'm going to talk overall about what used to be one of the most read, one of the most anticipated columns, something that literally people, waited and wanted to read, whom a certain food reviewer, critic, a restaurant critic. And now it's just another nothing burger, no pun intended. So she comes with all this fanfare. She wrote for the New York Times, I guess. She's got New York pedigree and all that. And they hired her about 2 or 3 years ago. And she's just boring and not very how can I put it, noteworthy. It's just a mundane. I stopped reading the physical Chronicle. And if I wanted the only thing I wanted to read about are restaurant reviews and all that, I'd go to SF Gate, which is their internet crapola site, because that's all they talk about are burritos and red burritos and what's the best chicken place and where's the hamburger spot, where do you get a taco. That's all it's become, folks. It is a internet site for people that don't give a shit apparently about news, and all they want to do is talk about burritos and red houses and red burritos and purple tacos. It's a shithole. Any event, back to this so-called critic. So she goes to this place that she recently reviewed, and some reader called her out and went into this restaurant, and she's hugging the owners and just acting, like, oh boy, this is so nice of you folks that you give me all this great food, or blah, blah, blah. Well, coincidentally, or maybe not, she writes a review about the place and gives it glowing notice. One of the best, uh, dishes that she's ever had. And again, I don't want to name the restaurant. It's not the point here. And I'm not going to, you look it up on Google. You'll find that information if you so desire. The fact of the matter is, Hearst, which owns the Chronicle, they wanted Michael Bauer, who was not only a great writer, but a really good restaurant reviewer. And Bauer himself had some issues with restaurants. In fact, some restaurants wanted his ass to be fired because they thought he was unethical. And what I know about Bauer was that he was far from being, involved in places and financial, that he was about as objective a person as all get go. Is at least what I've talked to people who know the restaurant business. Some of them have worked in restaurants, owned restaurants. Nonetheless, and here's the biggie, Bauer was interesting to read. You looked forward to his reviews, kind of like you used to look forward to the reviews on Wednesday when the New York Times had their famous, reviewer, the woman whose name escapes me, but somebody will mention it here. And she was quite controversial because she too had kind of a special list of places that she liked, although she wasn't accused of kissing up to owners and showing a definite bias, which is the case here with this woman. This Chung Fegan is her name, with the Chronicle. But the worst thing, I'm not going to get into that. It seems like it's a mild case where she probably hugged these owners a little too feverishly after writing the review. And that got her into trouble. And, she's probably going to get a pass and all that because it seems as if there's nothing onerous about this. It may have been a case of she just blew it. She shouldn't have done that. But it doesn't appear that she was bought off or anything of that nature. Nothing whatsoever. I'm just going to state quite frankly, she's boring to read. She doesn't offer any kind of illustrious writing. She's not going to be Michael Bauer, that's for sure. And a lot of her restaurant reviews are predictable. She loves certain places and she'll write the occasional bad review and try to be, that's where Bauer was really effective because he could absolutely write. And it would be funny sometimes. You have these really, really great places, or so people would say. And Bauer would just, he'd kill him. Not that he was wanting to do that, but he could do that and write a fantastic review. A lot of people only took the Chronicle, or only read the Chronicle, I should say, on Wednesday when they too had their restaurant page. But that was, again, I haven't read the physical newspaper in 2-3 years now. The Sunday paper was the preeminent restaurant section, and they had reviews. Bauer used to have his main review on Sunday in addition to Wednesday, but the bottom line, it was a really interesting kind of a page. In addition, they had Inside Scoop, which was kind of restaurant news and all that. And in a city that has 3,000 restaurants, or did at one time. And it was interesting, and you read it, especially if you go out to eat a lot, like I used to. But the bottom line is, she is no Bauer in terms of writing. You might say, well, hardly anybody would be Bauer. He was fantastic. Yeah, he was. And the Chronicle, in their dumb ways, forced Bauer to retire early, like a lot of people. They just wanted him to go. And he was making a lot of money. But guess what? People were buying the paper. They were getting online subscriptions. And they were reading his reviews because they were entertaining. They were great, if you like restaurants. And even if you don't, they were worthwhile reading. Now we have, speaking of Drek, which I often use that word, we have a Drek restaurant reviewer and writer. There's nothing to read. And the same predictable formula in which she goes out to these places, some of which nobody's ever heard of, and some of which is the worst, these trendy restaurants. I'm not going to mention names there either, where, everything is just beautiful. And here's my favorite word, which in air quotes, favorite, meaning it's bullshit. Amazing. Everything is fucking amazing. Amazing. I hate that word. Amazing. How about you just tell us, look, this place is great. It's known for its chow mein, or it's known for its, I don't know, name a Mexican dish or a French dish or whatever. And okay, you want to be exuberant, you want to be enthusiastic, fine. But make your writing at least interesting. That's why they brought you from New York and are giving you quite a good salary, I'm told. But she's no Bauer. She doesn't write particularly well. And now she's in the news somewhat for something I'm sure she really, quite frankly, doesn't want to be at the forefront. And that is, here she is hugging owners of this place that she reviewed, in which she gave a glowing review, and she's seen hugging the owners. So draw your own conclusions on that. Again, from that standpoint, I don't do a lot of investigations in that regard, but I don't think it's anything other than, an innocent, probably overly exuberant treatment of people that she should stay away from. Bauer in that area was very, very decent. In fact, he even had a ponytail. He would change his appearance when he would go into restaurants to try to be as what's the word? Try to be as undistinguishable as possible, because he obviously didn't want preferential treatment. Yet, look, everybody knew what Michael Bauer looked like. So the other shit was just complete bullshit. They know he had his places that he liked, and it was very, very difficult for him to go to, even obscure places. They knew what he looked like. Some restaurant owners wanted him fired because he got chummy and with certain people and would be very biased. I never found that to be the case. I really didn't. That doesn't mean it's genuine, doesn't mean it's, 100% pure. I'm just giving you my recollection and all that. Again, I want to repeat myself. Bottom line, Bauer was worth reading, appointment reading, when it came to reviews. And yes, his negative reviews were far more readable than his I love this place reviews, sad to say, because he could really, as they say, spin a yarn when he gave sort of a thumbs down, the little man not clapping and falling asleep, so to speak, to a place which he didn't like. And some of these places were, toast of the town, how dare you not like this place? We've been a part of San Francisco for, 50 years. And he would do that. And not just to do it to be au contraire. He would do it if he didn't like it. And yes, there are people out there who tried to pin him down and said he had, interest in this, that his partner was involved in that restaurant, and he was accused a lot of. But look, when you're at the forefront in a major restaurant city like San Francisco used to be, they still have good places, but not nearly as grand as what used to be San Francisco. I mean, there's so many places that have closed down. I'll leave that to another posting for somebody else. But like New York, LA, the great restaurant cities have their own good to decent to very good restaurant critics. The Chronicle, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, could you even name the critic for the San Francisco Chronicle? And they couldn't. So, and that's not just to say that, that's the reason why she's so unbowerish. It's just a reflection of the fact that she came here with all this fanfare, all the ballyhoo and all that, this, that, and the other. New York pedigree, LA or New York Times. And she's a nothing. And so it goes. I'm Rich Lieberman. Please like my site here on YouTube. You can also become a paid subscriber going to my PayPal. And thank you for watching me. And, oh, by the way, see you later, alligator. I have no idea why I'm saying that. It's just, what the hell? We all have to have trademarks today, right? Okay.